The Atlas are home here in Albany, New York. We're wrapping up weekend number 1 of the 2024 PLL opening weekend, and it's the Maryland Whipsnakes taking on the home team, the New York Atlas, here from Casey Stadium in Albany, New York. Ryan Boyle, Paul Carcaterra, along with me, Chris Cotter, for you for the rest of this weekend. It's the 4th game, and we already saw the Atlas here earlier, and they were really impressive yesterday.
Yeah, it's their homecoming weekend up in Albany, New York, so they played twice. Every other team is playing one, so a battle-tested bunch has to turn around in 24 hours.
Well, the one theme we've talked about, or one of the several themes we talked about all week long, is a new look. A lot of teams have some new blood, some players that have left, some players that have come in, obviously, via free agency or the draft. And the Whipsnakes, clearly one of those teams. I mean, you think about some of the players they lost, especially on the defensive end right here, Rhino. And, I mean, that's going to be a big deal for them.
You think about Maryland Whipsnakes, you think defense. And they were 7th in the league last year. So they wanted to move on. They wanted to get younger. They wanted to be more transition up and down, get some two-way guys. So this is a new look Whipsnakes defense.
Yeah, you could talk Atlas and offense and Jeff Teed all day. I'm going to talk defense and the Whips and Ajax Zapatel, National Defender of the Year, an absolute buzzsaw, played for John Tillman, wore the fabled #1, and he delivered the goods. He's got the takeaway checks. He's got the leadership skills. And with losing Bryce Young in a trade to the Cannons, Mike Earhart retiring.
Great duos.
Zapatello, I just mentioned, but he's got 2 Maryland alums in Matt Dunn and Tim Muller, who are all-star caliber type defenders, to show him the way. Quint just talked to Heacock. I think Mike Chanichuk had a fabulous campaign a season ago, stroking the rock with both hands. On the attack, Zed Williams, the righty, Matt Rambo, the bull, going on the left.
Snakes lineup powered by Ticketmaster. Maybe we'll hear from Ajax later on in the show. So we wanted to hear from Colin Heacock, reunited with Matt Rambo, his attack line mate at Maryland, University of Maryland.
National champs in 2017 for John Tillman.
Yeah. That was really the start of an amazing run for Maryland Lacrosse that continues to this day, playing for a national championship just a week ago. We're underway here in the 4th and final game in our opening weekend from Albany. And it'll be very interesting to see. Ryan, we talked a lot about this in between games. How would Atlas now respond, having played in this heat 2 games in a row, back-to-back yesterday and today, and then also how the Whipsnakes, knowing that the Atlas have played 2 games in a row, how will they come out?
Yeah, if you're the Atlas, your adrenaline is still pumping, still flowing. It's like that game never ended. I would expect them to come out hot, and then kind of reality set in once it's like, oh yeah, we got 4 quarters to go.
You were right, coming out hot. How about Dox Aiken continuing the type of play that he showed us yesterday?
When you've got the type of athlete that Aiken is, he can handle the 2 games in 2 days, Gark.
Yeah, I think his movement, his athleticism is next level. I project him to have a monster season. Did not play in the PLL in 2023, but Dox is a natural goal scorer. Nobody in the history of Virginia lacrosse in the midfield hit the back of the net more than this bull.
He scored 12 seconds into the game yesterday as the first goal of the game, and now he scores, what, 36 seconds into this game.
Yeah, so in terms of pros, cons, obviously you expect Atlas to get a little tired as the game progresses, but they've got game reps, Cotter, right? They know exactly what they're doing in certain sequences, certain situations. Now this is a unique one with 2 face-off guys dressing. How do they play this element of the game when yesterday they knew they were going to, in essence, win every face-off?
Yeah, Baptiste was 25 of 27 yesterday. It'll be a little bit more difficult today going against Petey LaSalle.
I think a big thing to look at in this game, too, is the offense without Schellenberger. I thought yesterday they were just buzzing on both sides with Teed on the left.
Ooh, quick start for the Atlas. And it's Dylan Malloy who's filling in for Connor Schellenberger today.
You're going to get a much,
telling that man, good choice.
You're going to get a much different look with Dylan Malloy. 2016 Tewaaraton winner from Brown University. He loves to use the body. You're not going to get the dishes and the passes that you would from Schellenberger. but the physical presence to own a matchup, you will.
Yeah, Zappatello hasn't seen a load like Dylan Malloy. He is like a truck, a Mack truck. So hard to match up, and because he's the fresh body, Quint and I were talking about this before the game, all the Atlas are going to be like, hey, dude, we need you, especially early.
Beats Kyle Bernlohr in goal, so the Atlas off to a hot start here, as is Baptiste, winning draws again.
Baptiste is absolutely incredible. I mean, obviously yesterday, without going against a face-off man, he was automatic. But you look at his ability to win draws. Last year, 79%, a record in professional lacrosse.
He's won all 3 today. Ball on the carpet picked up by Ajax. So Ajax Zappatello, number 5 in white. The rookie out of Maryland. Here's Rambo. Gets his shoulder into a defender. Tough angle shot. No problem for Tim Troutner. He was fantastic yesterday. 13 saves, 54% save percentage.
I like the move, but I wish he did it higher up, right? Above goal line extended, because once he got his break, when he used the body and the shoulder, he had no angle to shoot.
New color scheme for Whipsnakes this year. Gone is the teal green, opting for the colors of the Maryland state flag. Behind the back pass, couldn't get it to Dixon. And Tim Muller watches it go out of bounds. Second turnover of the day for New York. Shannon Chuck, yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you, both these uniforms from field level are exquisite. You mentioned the Whipsnakes. It's got a Maryland flag kind of in gray and white on the shoulders, and meanwhile the New York Atlas have that pinstripe look down by the waistline. Details, details, details.
Certainly from a play-by-play perspective, I love the all whites with the black numbers.
Yeah, they're sharp. That looks really cool. I love the decals too on those helmets.
Here's TJ Malone, loses his footing.
Yeah, he's never seen a short stick like Danny Logan before.
Got a whistle on the play. Officials want to talk things over.
Original play.
Say that again.
The original restart shouldn't have restarted. The original start.
Over there, we had
never
a
fit,
reset?
and he reset it. So you got to go back to the TV.
They're going to fix the shot clock. I'll tell you what, TJ Malone was an attackman at Penn State. When he sees a shorty on him, he just, his eyes blow up, right? That's not your typical shorty.
But he'll learn, exactly. He'll learn that 91 is not your typical shorty, and in fact, let's treat him like he's not a shorty.
I'll pose this question to the two of you. Have you seen a better short stick than Danny Logan?
No.
No, right
no,
now
but I'm
he's,
talking about
he's
not right
crushing
now.
people.
I'm talking about
maybe ever. No, you're.
I'm talking about give me some legacy.
Yes,
he's right up there for me. I don't think I've seen a better one.
I actually, if I was an offensive player, I'd rather go against a long pole, because I feel like once you go against Logan, he uses the body so well, and he wins that leverage game, and he's so aggressive.
Hold, hands.
I was talking to Grant Ament yesterday before the game, and he echoed those same sentiments, Clark. He was talking about just how strong, every one of these teams in this league has a short stick D-midi that will just engulf you and beat you up.
Well, they're recruiting the position in college now, and in college, it's a role which is like a lockdown corner. There's a lot of pride in that position. It's not just an offensive midfielder that you're saying go play defense.
Jones with the look inside. Good pass and good turn and rake for Dixon.
What a pass by Miles Jones.
Jones, not a lot of production yesterday. 0 for 5 shooting, didn't have any assists, a couple turnovers, but that's what he brings from the midfield position. Incredible vision, incredible feeder, and what a spot feed there. I mean, Dixon is not open in a traditional sense, but just flashes his stick, and Jones spot feeds just to an open area, throws Dixon open.
To your point, throwing to Dixon open, if he throws it on his right shoulder, Dixon then has to turn, he has to cock the stick back and then shoot. By putting it out in front, it was catch and release ready.
Dixon coming off a hat trick yesterday. New York 3 for 3 shooting here early. Perfect shooting and perfect facing off with Baptiste.
So much for being gassed after playing yesterday.
No. This is still adrenaline. This is
typical.
This is
typical.
not now. It's like second quarter and then halftime. You don't even want it.
Malloy makes it 4-0.
Wow. Bernlohr's getting down on himself. He's not happy, and he's not seeing the ball with the head of his stick. When you watch this replay, watch how his stick is stationary. He gets some body movement towards it, but that top hand is not tracking the ball.
And if you're Atlas, having the extra 2 players on the protected roster, that flexibility, this is exactly the type of juice that you needed. You take a fresh guy, a veteran, and the biggest thing for Dylan Malloy is he was with Atlas the entire training camp. So they were able to acclimate him in terms of what they were doing schematically, their other personnel, whereas last year he joined the team after the season had already started.
No, and that's a good point because Connor Schellenberger was playing in the national semifinals, then was at the Tewaaraton ceremony, and then he got hurt yesterday. But the interesting thing is Zappatello is defending Dylan Malloy. He would have been defending Connor Schellenberger, and he's been amazing in his career against Schellenberger. It's a totally different matchup.
Crowd wooing after that no-look behind the back pass from Baptiste. Ended up in Carpenter's stick.
Oh.
All kinds of juice for this New York team right now.
Ouch!
Doc's aching, stings a corner.
Whips are going to need a timeout.
They need a timeout.
Sound of that corner. This is an incredible rip. His first goal was on a bouncer. When you have Trevor Baptiste, it's make it, take it. He is playing on a different level. Even his desperation passes land in the right spots. And then the goal by Doc Zakin. The little shake and have a corner 6.
Action in the bullpen for the Whipsnakes. Brendan Krebs taking some shots now. Far side left. You guys can see him from a distance. Bernlohr, Ofer.
He's got the 0 saves, 5 goals against.
You see Staggs right there, Jim Stagnita, the head coach of the Whipsnakes, trying to keep his club encouraged. As it is again, make it, take it. Baptiste, he'll shoot, and he scores!
He's got to get the timeout, and he signals
timeout. He's going to get bailed
timeout.
out by the media timeout, so he doesn't need to, but he's going to have to go to the bullpen.
A stampede from the New York Atlas to start this game. Putting up a 6th spot in less than 6 minutes. Baptiste has won every faceoff he's taken. This time he takes it all the way to the rack and scores. All New York here early in Albany. Five goals directly off of face-off wins today. So Baptiste has been the igniter. 6 for 6 from the dot. Petey is battling, as you know he will, and finally Whipsnakes get one.
We were talking in the break. This is only their, what, 2nd possession?
Yeah, I mean, they barely touched the ball.
Heacock. You got to look, and it was saved by Troutner. Pushed aside by Troutner, so.
Maybe their 3rd possession. I think of the Rambo shot. Zed had one earlier.
Look away, look away.
Chanenchuk now inverted, comes back up. Gonna get that left hand free. Just got underneath the defender, but shoots it well high. Now Rambo will put it back in play. 17 seconds to shoot for the Whips.
Big little Charlie.
Rambo on Rex Road, looking for a pick. Gets one, now he's got the shorty.
Go, Edge!
Double team comes, Rambo can't get a shot off. We'll get a flag here though.
Flag down.
Atlas foul 34, 30-second technical, hold.
Peyton Razanka, call goes against him, so a man-up opportunity for the Whips.
Hey, you look at this power play. The Whips were #2 in the league in the power play last year, but they also had Tucker Durdovic, who was stretching the defense. He's on the shelf right now with an injury.
And Brad Smith, who's
Yes.
also out.
Like basketball, Whips need this one. This is when you put on the line and you're in a little bit of a slump. You can spark something good.
Rambo in the middle. Now he moves over to the side of the cage. Here he is. Tough angle, but he goes low. Troutner continues to be sharp, as he has been all weekend.
And good discipline by Troutner on that near pipe.
Two things to look at now as Atlas looks to possess the ball on their offensive end. They switched the matchup. Now Matt Dunn is on Dylan Malloy. Ajax Zapatello bumped to Jeff Teat. So hello, rookie. Now you got to deal with the guy who had 11 points last game.
And they've got Muller, the organizer, on Dixon inside.
Talking to Ajax on Friday at practice, he said, same scheme, different terminology. So it's a Maryland scheme, but some of the words are going to be different.
New York looking for the quick restart with Krebs out. Dylan Malloy can't find it. Now we're going to go the other way with Bernhardt, but a whistle won't allow the quick restart as Bernhardt wanted to get going.
Why not?
Yes.
It was.
Peter Buchanan says, bring it on back. Let's start from here.
Hey, behind you. Good. Oh, good. No mat. No mat. No mat. Hey, Brett, get back.
It's Garrett Ledman, 40 in white. Over to Rambo. Rambo skips it all the way to the far side to TJ Malone.
Lefty. Lefty.
Out of the box comes Heacock.
Good. Eat. Pick coming.
Gets it to Zed behind. Zed takes a shot, steered aside by Troutner. Race for the ball on the end line. New York's got it.
And I'm really watching this Whipsnakes offense with a critical eye. The staple of their offense over the years has been Rambo on the left side, Williams on the right, and these slam picks, these midfielders coming down at goal line extended. And they always had a crease guy. Carlson, Manny. How do they incorporate TJ Malone into that? What do they do schematically to get him in his comfort zone?
Dixon flashes out and scores.
He sees things before they happen. His off-ball movement is off the charts, Ryan.
He just never stops moving. Constant flow, finding soft spots, following the slide. You can see he started behind the cage. He loops up all the way around. So Muller goes from a compromised spot where am I sliding, am I not sliding? Wait a second, this guy's now cutting and following right behind where that initial dodge came from.
Yeah, this guy knows. The Atlas offense
Well,
right
he does
now.
know. He does know.
Yeah, the Bulls are in full stride. I'll tell you what about Xander Dixon too. He's the cherry on top of an offense because he's so good inside moving off ball, but if you short stick him, he's slippery enough and he can dodge off a ball movement, poor approaches. He's lining up to have a potential huge year.
Yeah, and his athletic profile, Cark, as you know from Connecticut, he played a ton of racket sports as a kid, tennis. And I see that a lot of times when he's inside, the hand-eye coordination and the ability to transition from catch to shot as almost as if he's at the net, volleying the
Zed
ball.
got a really good look that time as he right in front of the net, but he bounced it too high.
That's a great point, Quint, because when you watch him shoot, you actually see that movement in his stick. It's like a swooping motion. It's all in one. It's catch, release, shoot in one.
New York is 7 for 7 shooting in this game. Maryland is 0 for 8 shooting in this game. And that was actually a pretty good look from Zed. And he was nowhere near on target.
Second time Williams has gained leverage on Logan after a pick. He rarely misses those.
Roman, right foot. No middle.
Here's Dylan. Puts his shoulder into a defender, try to get it to
He's got to be
Dixon.
more patient. Dixon was coming down to pick for him.
Less than 10 to shoot. Docks might have to freelance a little bit here. Instead, he doesn't even push it.
There's a smart double team there by Muller. Recognized Atlas was substituting behind the play. He knew he had a free double team. That's the IQ that Muller brings to this unit.
Yeah, we talk about IQ too, and you mentioned Dylan Malloy not waiting for that pick with Xander Dixon. When he's out there with Schellenberger, they're playing under the same umbrella, right? Speaking the same language. Teammates at Virginia for 3 years. You saw it yesterday.
Kessenich finally breaks the ice and puts the Whipsnakes on the board.
Lost in the Whipsnake season last year was how strong Kessenich played. Second in the team in points. Still got the range. He's never lost this shot. One of the smoothest strokes in the league. There's just no wasted motion. So efficient.
Big reason why Andy Towers drafted Shane Knobloch 4th overall is because of the tendencies that he has in his game that are similar to Mike Kessenich. Two-handed, no wasted movements.
Coach on the field,
Yes.
rarely makes mistakes.
Petey wins it, and possession to Whipsnakes.
It's a little bit of a bad sub by the New York Atlas on that last goal.
So now the Whips are subbing in, and they themselves are about 15 seconds to shoot with Kessenich. Oh, he dinks the defender, shoots, but Troutner was on it.
Great stop by Troutner because he had everyone in the stadium fooled on that one.
Zed again, trying to use that physicality. Double team comes. Nice pass. Too good defensively, though. It ends up in Troutner's stick. Now we're going quickly the other way. Kobe Smith tracks it down.
That was a
Absolute
ridiculous
robbery
save.
by Troutner.
That was a ridiculous
Kobe Smith
save.
shoots.
When you look at that in slow motion, you'll have a hard time believing it.
Now an opportunity for the Whips and fast pace here. Troutner.
After your goalie makes that ridiculous stop, I don't know why Kobe Smith was shooting that ball.
I double-checked the clock. I'm like, what are you doing?
He took it like there was 3 seconds left.
That's why I had to do a double take. I was like, wait, what are you, what?
Atlas got away with it on this end because it was a fast break opportunity for the Whipsnakes. They couldn't get one on cage. Kessenich. Oh, check that. That's Malone. Good pass inside. Couldn't finish, though. Ledman.
Take arms inside.
12 seconds. Look at that collision. Smith wins it, though, as he and Williams collide behind the cage. Horn sounds to end the first quarter. What a dominant first quarter for Tim Troutner and the New York Atlas. Great shot of Empire State Plaza here in Albany, New York, home of the Great Danes, and we are in KC Stadium on the campus of U Albany, and standing by with Quint Kessenich right now is the head coach of the Great Danes, Scotty Marr.
Scotty Marr's achieved some incredible success up here in the Capital District this weekend. Robust crowds, a lot of enthusiasm. You had a youth tournament going on. How would you best describe the energy here on campus?
Again, our fans have passion for the game. You know, it's been amazing to watch it grow. You know, been there 25 years. The output every weekend we have for our team and our games, and then this, unbelievable. Yesterday's crowd was fantastic in that second game. So just awesome lacrosse. It's a great treat for our kids in this area to see this happening.
Carolina Chaos and Denver Outlaws in game one today featured 3 of your former players. Yes. Jake Pacino making his pro debut really stole the show. Troy Ray, obviously, and Blaze Reardon, the best goalie in the league. How would you describe the impact that Jake had on your program over the last couple of years?
Oh, he's been unbelievable. Just leadership-wise, again, off the field, great student. But just his play and his work ethic every day. You know, again, weight room, just practice every day. He plays just like you saw today. He does it every day in practice. So just teaching the younger guys that work ethic has been great for our young guys. Again, lost in the finals last year, win it this year, go to the playoffs. Really good, just good couple stepping stones for our young guys.
Coach Marr and I are peers. We're actually classmates. at Johns Hopkins, the same school. And when we were growing up, like, this dream didn't exist.
Right, exactly.
What's it like, you think, for this younger generation now to have this down the road for them when they pick up a stick?
Absolutely. I mean, again, you can aspire to be a professional athlete in our sport now, you know, a true professional athlete. The way they're doing it, again, by the time some of these young kids are getting up in 10, 12 years from now, this league's going to be booming. And it's just such a fun sport to play. And again, it's just kids have the opportunity now all over the country to play the game. Is awesome.
Thank you, Coach. Scotty. I could call him anything I want. Way to go. Great to see you. Great to see you. Scott would have played in this league. He would have been an incredible passer.
Absolutely.
From behind. He had next level intellect, next level passing
What's
skills.
made him such a great coach.
Great player.
You know, I didn't have the PLL or pro lacrosse to look at when I was a kid. He was my idol. I grew up in the same town as him. I wanted to be like Scott Marr and so many others that paved the way in a town like Yorktown. And you know, growing up in Baltimore too, your idols were those high school lacrosse players, right? And then to have it now at the highest level and the pro potential that the PLL has is just incredible.
Scotty Marr, I know you're prone to hyperbole in terms of all the legends from Yorktown. Scotty Marr really is a legend.
First ballot legend. I used to ask him so many questions. I was in 6th grade when he got to Hopkins. And I would just pepper him all day long with, like, his stick and his setup and practices.
Scott Marr would stay after practice any day that I asked him to give me extra shots. And we would work for minutes and hours. Great teammate.
Well, it's the first we've heard really from Jeff T today after he had an unbelievable game yesterday. But it's been more about Dylan Malloy. It's been Xander Dixon. It's been Miles Jones. It's been Dox Aiken. Well, now it's also about Jeff T.
And it's off of another feed from Jones, the second of the day. So with Schellenberger out, you know, Jones turns into a quarterback from up top, rolling back and forth. The Whipsnakes kind of get lost up in that recovery. You can see Zappatello inside. Teat just curls around. Too much space on that left wing, and Teat makes him pay.
You know what's encouraging about this offense? You're up 8-1, no Connor Schellenberger after an 8-point performance yesterday. If someone told you you'd be winning in the initial stages of the second quarter without Jeff Teat having a major impact in the game, you'd probably say you're crazy.
And that's where a guy like Dylan Malloy, the luxury of being able to bring in him after a full training camp, fresh. You know, he buries 2. Aiken.
Good save by Bernlohr.
Aiken's got 2, and then Baptiste giving you some juice off the face, more than juice, dominance at the face-off strike.
Check that. That was Krebs. Krebs came in for Bernlohr. I got to remember that. Mid-first quarter.
But this is something league-wide we're certainly going to keep a trend on, is how these teams do with the back-to-back. You know, a few years ago when they played Friday, 2 teams played on Friday. They both played doubleheaders on Sunday. They had a day of rest, recovery, game film, but they had a leg up on the 2 teams that just sat around all weekend waiting to play.
Pick left!
Especially in week 1. I think it's a more pronounced advantage in week 1.
I would agree. And they're also in camp the entire time. Teat again!
Running away from the goal. Beats Krebs.
What's impressed me the most this weekend about Jeff Teat is not him slipping defenders and using his shoulders to get underneath and dodges. Ryan, it's his off-ball play. He has been spectacular away from the ball.
I'm really wondering if Dylan Malloy was throwing that to Teat or if he was going to the backside pipe. You see Costabile going to that backside pipe?
Yes, I would agree with you, but it doesn't negate the fact that Teat is moving so well off the ball.
I know. I think Teat intercepted that pass. He thought it was just a little high.
Yeah.
I think Malloy intended that down to Costabile. Quint, maybe you could see if at some break we could get an honest answer out of Malloy there.
Whips win this draw. Petey's holding his own now against Baptiste. in the last few draws after it was all Baptiste early. Still, though, relentless is Gavin Adler in this New York defense to get the ball away and get it back.
And this is where I think Whipsnakes, I mean, they're going to miss him in a gajillion assets of the game, but this is where Earhart would make a disruptive play, make a juice play. Like, this is no offense to Zupicic there, but like if that's Earhart, he's firing from 2-point range off of that, right?
Because space-wise, he knows where to set up. I mean, Zupicic is a rookie. Earhart's top 2 or 3 player ever in the sport at his position. But it's interesting, Ryan, like those guys just know how to play the cat and mouse game in terms of the clear and where to fill gaps spacing-wise to set up for a 2.
Earhart feels like he's the last of that mold and that prototype, because these LSMs in this league, for the most part, are 5'10", 5'9", 5'11"-ish, and good off the ground and great with the ball.
Chin chuck right into the stick of Troutner.
Earhart's a little bit of a dinosaur for that hulking LSM who roams the field.
Carpenter brings it into the offensive end. Teat will slow it down a little bit.
Good job by Carpenter getting out of that. Adler led him right into trouble there.
Carpenter's exceptional in the gray area. You watch him at Duke. He's made so many plays. And this year, he had to play some close defense as well. He knows how to scoop ground balls. He knows how to deal with pressure.
12 to shoot. Costabile. Teat thought about firing the shot. Now the over-the-shoulder pass. Score! Teat to Dixon.
That's a ridiculous shot.
Dylan Malloy tried to throw a behind-the-back pass to no avail. Ryan, Jeff Teat shows you how it's done.
It's the touch. It's the pace. It's giving Dixon an opportunity to run into it, identify the ball, running away from the field, away from the goal, low to high, fools Krebs. The Atlas are rolling.
Teat, look at that pass to him all the way across the defense.
Catches everything.
Ready to go?
Under 10 to shoot. Costabile trying to get a shot. Teat steered aside by Krebs.
He is.
Krebs trying to dig the ball out of the back of the net.
And Krebs needed that. I didn't love the force by Malloy after they gained the reset.
He's made 3 saves since taking over for Bernlohr about midway through that first quarter.
And all you can do if you're Whipsnakes is just start chipping away, right? You're down 9, just can you get this to 6 by halftime?
Ledman over to Kahn.
Good news is they were #1 in the league in 2-pointers last year. So they have some guys who could stretch a defense. Now gone is Michael Earhart, who could do that.
And Tucker Dordovic.
But not Zed Williams.
Yeah, Williams finally beats Troutner.
No, I brought up Dordovic because he was tied for first.
Yes.
So, I mean, so with Earhart and Dordovic, I get that they were last year. Those guys aren't here.
Yeah.
But this guy is, to your point, and he's had quality looks in this first half. You're going to see the ball reversal, hands free, step down, give him a mid-range shot. Little deception on that. it's really for Maryland, because you're not being able to demonstrate you can win faceoffs on a consistent basis. You got to get stops in the 32 and give your offense an opportunity to get in the flow of things. But Atlas in the 32 have just been significantly better than they were last year.
Camizio scored a goal yesterday, a little high on that shot.
The right pick. I like how he rolled off of that too. You know, when they get into the early offense, they're going to throw it to Teat. They're going to set a pick and let him do some work on the top side.
And given Zapatello's foot speed, I'm surprised when they're moving the ball around the perimeter that he just doesn't press out on Teat and make it difficult. Like, don't let that exchange happen.
Double team comes behind the back, try to get it to Dixon. This time it didn't work out. And the Whip's breaking out.
It's a valid point, Ryan, but you can attest to what it's like for a rookie making his first start on the big stage in a you know, abbreviated training camp week, as he was part of the festivities last weekend.
Maybe that's something they look at halftime.
There's a two-point shot from Garrett Ledman.
He tattoos this bottom corner on a lefty goalie in Tim Troutner. This thing is screaming at 100 miles per hour. No Tucker Dordovic, no Michael Earhart. Where do you find your two balls when you're down by 8? You gotta start hitting these outside shots with range. And I love the plant, the rip, and the location.
And part of the reason why they decided that they could trade Kirst is to elevate Ledman and give him more a role within their offense and within a two-way midfielder role. That's the high hopes they have for Ledman this season in his second year.
Since that timeout, and you heard Stags in the huddle, they've scored 3 points. There's no such thing as a 6-point shot, so all you can do is just scratch and claw your way back into it.
But I said, can you get it to 6? Mission accomplished. Now try to hold it here and get it to 5. I mean, obvious strategy. But, like, if you could go from 9 to 5 by half.
Yes, because as you mentioned earlier, Ryan, we expected the New York Atlas to get off to a snappy and effective start because they've had the game under their belt. But somewhere along the line, they're going to hit the wall. And if you just want to stay in range if you're the Whipsnakes, the Atlas will tire.
Tim Muller causing that turnover. Now he's off and running. Here's Zed.
And Roman can hit it too.
I know.
Aiden White, he can shoot from the outside. I think what the Whips have going for them is they have short stick defensive midfielders who can kind of stay above the arc and find those empty spots like Ledman did. Lisi's another one.
Williams has got to get it to him earlier as the trailer, and Roman's got to catch that even higher.
Yes. Because when you catch it higher, it's two things. You evade the pressure, but it also gives you time to get the little giddy up.
Here's Ledman again. Down the alley, back to X and TJ Malone.
Stay up. Right on your left. Double. Good. Edge.
Malone's got the short stick matchup. Tough angle, shot, scores! That deflected off Troutner and in.
Guys, you're not on the clock.
Lost in kind of the Whipsnakes' shaky start here. TJ Malone has been very steady. He's got two assists, and now he's first score of the game of his career. But after he gets the matchup that he wants, he keeps that matchup. And he's patient, and then a nifty little twister here at the end to sneak it by Troutner.
Yeah, if he doesn't do the twister there, he ran out of real estate with no angle.
But he's been the bright spot for them offensively, involved in 3 of their 4 scores.
Rookie from Penn State with his first career goal. And Stags has to be ecstatic with what he's seen over the last couple of minutes. Started 1 for 14 shooting his team, and now they've hit their last 3 straight shots.
2 rookies we've seen drafted in the 3rd round that are starting at X behind the quarterback role. TJ Malone and then Ross Scott for the Carolina Chaos. tells you the depth of this draft.
Left foot.
Malone skips it across. Jacoby didn't have a very good angle. Now to Teat. He's just going to send it into the corner. They'll let the shot clock wind down. An opportunity to inch even closer for the Whipsnakes.
Yeah, credit the Whipsnakes. They've given themselves a puncher's chance here heading into halftime. 5 goals is nothing.
It was 10-1.
I know, 5 goals is nothing in terms of a second half deficit.
Organize, organize, get out to one. Invert.
Here's Kahn. Going to use a Rambo pick.
Good hands, hands.
Here's Zed. Working on the shorty, so he likes this matchup. You can see that. But he's not making headway just yet. Now the slide comes with the double team. Skips it across to the far side. Shannonchuk thought about taking the shot with just 5 seconds to shoot. Good look inside. Morrill had a great chance, but the ball came out of his cross before he could take the shot.
What a play by Shannonchuk.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant play. I thought he was going to take a desperation too.
And a timeout called by Mike Pressler. Using the use it or lose it timeout with 22.8 remaining in this first half.
Watch this initial picker to set the pick and then kind of take a drop step and flash to the goal.
Jonesy will put it in play. 20 seconds. Wants to dodge on Bernhardt. Krebs, no problem with that shot. That was just a little bit too much, asking a little much from Dixon. Now 5 seconds. Krebs is just going to fire it down. That shot at the buzzer whistles wide.
If that was on, that would have been dangerous because there's a lot of action in front of the goal there.
10-5 is our halftime score. Just moments ago it was 10-1. So Maryland has done a nice job in the latter parts of that first half, closing the gap and making a game of it. Now set to face it off here for the second half. Q, did you hear anything down there on the sideline from either one of these teams?
I talked to Coach Staggs. He said, we're not playing very well. I said, really? I said, but outside of face-offs, defense, and goaltending, everything was great. No, they're very aware of what you guys are just talking about, like staying in range, hovering here, and making this a full 48-minute game. Because they are acutely aware that the New York Atlas are likely to tire.
Opportunity to strike first here in the second half with Ledman coming out of the box.
Pull. Good. Hands. Get your hands. Good. By yourself.
The question mark that coach has is what's their bread and butter? What's their go-to? What's their identity on offense?
Check.
Ledman trying to dodge with 10 seconds on the shot clock probably wasn't it. And that's a good point by Quint because last year their leading point producer was Will Manning. He's no longer with the team. Tucker Dordovic was the rookie of the year. He's dealing with an injury. Brad Smith isn't in the lineup. So the identity, who would know?
Then he had Earhart, the ultimate disruptor and best player between the lines.
Malloy trying to get it back into his left hand, wasn't allowed to by Matt Dunn. Puglisi got in the passing lane, but Dixon got it back. Teat now up top. Jacoby shoots, scores.
Maybe they won't tire out. Maybe they'll prove us all wrong. This is a slick underneath move by Jacoby, who made his name in Champ Series in February, Ryan.
Blew up in the Champ Series, really got on the Atlas's radar, given his phenomenal play there. And he's had a productive 2 days. That's a slick hitch, face dodge, and then low to high finish. You gotta respect his range. Puglisi needs to do a better job of breaking down there on that approach.
Shows you the wrist strength too, because he shoots that against the grain. When you make that face dodge lefty to open up your hips and continue your movement downfield and to shoot just shows you the wrist strength.
DJ Ralph, it completely blowing through the stop sign there that was put up by Matty Palin. Like, I'm going to play some music a little bit longer since we're getting to the wee moments of this opening weekend in Albany.
You don't tell a DJ to turn his music down.
Oh, man, that's great. Kessenich trying to answer for Whips.
Good. Pick coming. Good goal.
Malone. Troutner goes high to rob him.
And back to the identity question, Kark, I think I'd like to see TJ Malone get more and more touches.
Kobe Smith from 2.
We criticized him in the first half. That's the quality look that we want out of Kobe Smith.
Yes, and credit to him to go back after it again. With a ton on the shot clock, I'm sure Coach Presser told him last time that is not the time to shoot the rock. But when you can sling it with a 6-foot pole like that, and you see the defensive pressure right there, flying out is Morrill, and he uses him almost as a screen and shoots around him.
But that's what I was talking about time and time again this weekend. You want to catch the ball deep from the arc, because as that defender closes out, he's going to close out at the 2-point arc. So you can use him as a screen, and if you're tight to that, you don't actually get the full follow-through.
Big battle for this loose ball in the middle of the field, won by Atlas. Carpenter will take a shot and score! Well, he gets rewarded for picking up the GB as he's done so often today. He's been a vacuum.
That was one of those, no, yeah, sure, okay, I guess it went. I mean, this surprised everybody.
Yes, and Tyler Carpenter was not a big goal scorer at Duke. He was a menace in the middle of the field. He was great on ground balls, great on wings, but he wasn't a goal scorer with the pole. But in the PLL, on the short clock, in the green light, why not do it, Rook?
I mean, understanding some urgency on the 32, this is just like, okay.
First pro goal weekend. Schellenberger, O'Neal, Carpenter. The list goes on and on from earlier today.
Scott, yeah, that's a great point, Quint. Yes.
Knobloch.
Q, is it possible that Atlas, after the quick turnaround, doesn't tire out in this game?
Well, possession will help them. They'll tired. I mean, you see the guys that are coming off the field. They're not exactly sprinting off.
We were waiting them.
But these are pro athletes, and these games are only 48 minutes long. That's one thing that works in their favor.
And I think it's also some of these unexpected goals, right? I don't think they had Carpenter tacking one on today. That Jacoby, even though they expect things out of him, like all of these goals that come from unexpected places are bonuses for Atlas.
When you think of the weekend that could be for Atlas after a disaster of a year in 2023.
I mean, they could match their win total in the first weekend.
Yeah, 2-8 last year.
And both of their wins would come in their division.
That's a good point. And I wonder at the end of the year how many times we're going to look at the teams that have the homecoming with the 2 games on the weekend. How many teams go 2-0?
Yes, how nice is it to get that out of the way, right? You got your homecoming weekend out of the way, and you're 2-0. Because that can kind of hover around you, right? Like you're staring at that week 3, week 4.
It can either be huge or it can be problematic.
Yeah, Mike Pressler told us at practice on Friday, 1-1, he'd be more thrilled to go 1-1 this weekend.
Rambo skips it to the far side. Kessenich shoots and scores. That's a 2-pointer.
Amazing location on this shot. 3/4 arm release. I'm standing right behind him in line with the goalie. 3/4 arm release to that near side low pipe area. Just a beautiful, beautiful
it's
location.
99 miles per hour, too.
You think of NBA jump shots, Ray Allen, Steph Curry. When I think of time and room shots, Mike Kessenich. He's the smoothest stroke. There is no wasted motion. There's not this big hitch, this big, like, it's just one, boom.
You know what's crazy when you think about it? He grew up being taught the game by the same people as Tommy Schreiber. Tommy Schreiber's dad, Doug. Mike Chanichuk's dad, Mike Sr. These guys were all-American players back on Long Island. Mike Sr. at Navy. Tom Schreiber's dad, Doug, at Maryland. They taught them the game, and if you look at the wrists of the players from St. Anthony's that have been taught the game by these guys, Tom Schreiber, Will Manny, Mike Chanichuk, Brennan O'Neill. There's something what they've been doing in terms of the way they teach their shooters. Like wrists, right? Wrists is the common denominator with all those guys.
It's like San Pedro de Macorís and baseball players, or Africa and distance runners. It's a hot pocket of lacrosse excellence.
Airborne goes Colin Heacock. He's in the crease. Comizio now brings it into the offensive end. Malloy.
Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book, Outliers. He talks about that type of...
Yes, Canadian hockey, Brazilian soccer.
I recommend that book highly, Cotter.
All right, I'll read it on the flight home later.
That's on me, I got you.
That you're waiting on like 50 books from Anish.
The book of the week club, the book of the day club. 5 saves, now in net for Krebs. In relief, here's Dunn. Rambo just picked up his first point of the day, assisting on the Whip's last goal. Now he gets Chanenchuk again, who's just been like running out of the box with his hair on fire. He's been really the lone bright spot, and you could say Malone as well, I think, for this Whipsnakes offense. Here's Malone. Back to Chanenchuk. Got it to his left. Troutner making the save.
That's a
nice
good
stop.
Yeah, that's a good stop.
Fresh 32 now for the Whips. 9 saves for Troutner on the day.
Gotta go.
Chanenchuk again for 2. Got another one.
If I'm Atlas defensively, I've got to defend the knowns. Like credit Chanenchuk for creating this volume of shots, but he's the one guy on Whips that can shoot them back in the game.
He's a known.
He's a known. He can shoot them back into the game.
He's a known with wrists of gold. Born on Long Island. Born to shoot the rock. Born to stretch a defense. Take a bow, Mike Chanenchuk.
All players in terms of volume of shots, so credit him for creating those opportunities. But if you're Atlas, you've got to be mindful of where he is, especially from range.
Petey wins this face-off against Logan, so Baptiste taking a break on that draw.
You know, to your point, Ryan, too, in a game where you have a comfortable lead, you know the 2 balls their way back into the game.
He caught. Shut off by Adler, now behind the cage. Malone.
Turn him.
Shot clock winding down. So despite the face-off win from Petey, can't make anything out of it.
That's a rookie mistake by Malone.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough communication to help him out from the bench and his
but
teammates.
late in the clock, like launch the ball the other side, right, and let your defense get back.
I think it caught him off guard. I think he needed help from his guys.
Right alone. Kick left.
Usually there's a 10, an exclamation of 10 to go.
Drive. Right foot, right foot. Kick right.
There's Teat. Aiken splits the defenders. Saved by Krebs. High up in the air.
That was a beautiful swim by Dox, but the save by Krebs, that's the best save of the day for him.
They've got Zupicic ahead. Watch Puglisi as the trailer. He's got 2-point range.
Instead, it's Rambo in front of Malone, who scores.
Textbook early offense.
TJ Malone is starting to get acclimated. The more touches, the better.
And the key here is actually Zupicic. He is going to crash the crease You force the defense's hand, so as this ball gets reversed, watch Zupicic crash the crease, freeze it right here. You're going to see Zupicic. He's right in the middle of your field right here. That's going to force a backside help. Malone recognizes that, and he's going to cut right to that vacated area. So you're going to get a pass down here and then a feed inside to that cutting Malone.
So important when you're the LSM or the defensive midi and you're the first guy down, whether you pass to the wing, to cut the crease. Cut the crease, it condenses the defense and actually opens it up for the trailer.
Well, that's a high IQ play by the rookie, too, understanding where the pressure is coming from, where it's going, and to fill a seam.
Beautiful finish as well. So Baptiste back on to win the draw for Atlas.
Lads, we have a game.
It's a 4-point game here.
Leave it there, Gunner. Leave it there.
Malloy got things started early for Atlas with a couple of quick goals. He's been quiet. That's not quiet at all. Teeter behind the back.
We saw it as a passer in the first half, just throwing dimes from a behind-the-back perspective. This is so smooth, it's so under control, and the timing of it's perfect. You're catching that ball with a loss of angle. That's gorgeous.
Kark, I marvel at the pace on this shot.
Yes, and you know what it is? It's the snap of a BTB. A lot of players like a big swooping motion. It's kind of just a quick release. You know when you see him pass the ball regular, it's a quick release. We saw it from Schellenberger yesterday. His standard pass, quick release. That was the same thing. That thing came out like hyperspeed.
Where's the power coming from there, Kark? Is it the top hand pulling? And what are you doing with your butt
It's
end
the
hand?
top hand. The bottom hand is basically the guide. You know, I talked to Tommy Schreiber on Friday when I was doing a feature. When he was growing up, he had one of those hand grips, right? And if you look at his strength with his top hand, you know, Jeff Teach similar, playing all those reps of indoor lacrosse, and the top hand just dictates the way that you snap a shot like a Mike Chanichuk or a pass like Tommy Schreiber. You need strength in the wrists.
So the grip, the wrist grip, not the rice bucket.
He told me his dad's been giving him the grip.
No question mark.
The squeezer thing's almost like the pliers.
For the last like 30 years, every Christmas he gets one. So he's got like 30 of them.
Stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
Dad, what's in this
Brand
stocking
new
this year?
vice grip.
But it makes sense.
Beautiful back check there by Adler. I think it's going to get negated by a clock issue. The play got called dead before
Right,
that
we had a
takeaway
loose ball
check.
push. So 32 we start with.
Okay. All right.
So we lost 14.
We're gonna go down to
Grab
18.
yourself some lemonade and get
18.
ready for this final quarter in 3 minutes.
18. 18 on the clock. 18.
Palin gets it straightened out.
Why lemonade?
It's good on a hot day.
A lot of sugar.
It's got a little tanginess, wake your face up.
Okay.
Thought he was going to say like electrolytes or something.
I enjoyed the conversation about the old club lacrosse days that Ryan, you and Q had on the way over here. Back in the day, there was no water. It was just if you got thirsty, there's the keg. Malone with the question mark.
You know what's interesting? I was talking to the guys up in the booth, Quint. Do you notice Tim Troutner's shaft on his stick is pretty long?
Long, and so is Blaze
Why
Rudin's.
is that?
They're like the outlet passing or picking off passing. I mean, that used to be standard back in the day, but now guys have gone a little nubby things.
hands, hands.
I mean, Krebs goes, what, 6'3", and look how short
Exactly.
his lacrosse stick is.
Get out, Roman.
New York has not been able to pull away. Miles Jones pulling away from his defender. A couple of eights there, Jones and Puglisi. Now the double team comes. It leaves Dylan Malloy open. He shoots, bounces it wide.
Muller was trying to catch Jones on those rollbacks. I think he created a little bit of offense there. Jones sensed that pressure.
Shot clock is going to wind down.
Make sure we're talking to Peyton here.
Heacock setting up Kahn. A couple of former Maryland Terrapins.
You're good, you're good.
Kahn comes upfield against Comizio. He shoots, hits the pipe. Malone hits the empty net.
I like the look with Keegan Kahn behind the cage, giving another aspect of a dodging presence from behind.
And Malone just continues his steady, productive day. You know, nothing has really jumped off the page except sound, smart decisions, being in the right spots, being instinctive.
He's got 6 points.
But I'm just saying, and like in terms of, there isn't like some wow.
No,
like
there's variety to his game.
There's just like steady, solid play, doing the right thing over and over again.
Keegan Kahn, second-year player. What's interesting also, when you look at TJ Malone, I actually had him as a top 8 prospect on a big board. He dropped to the 3rd round. I thought that was what I said on draft night, the steal of the draft. I mean, this is a guy who's a 2-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. He's had the #1 defender on him for the last 2 seasons, consistently every week. You know the difference between a 1 and a 2.
And he showcased the ability to attack from the top of the formation, off of picks, or from X.
Ledman with a full head of steam out of the box.
Good. Lefty.
Let's not sleep on the fact that Petey LaSalle has done actually a very good job against Trevor Baptiste in this game. At the beginning of the game, first quarter, it was all Baptiste. But LaSalle has done a nice job kind of playing even with him since.
That's a great point. He made the adjustment, and you know, when you're getting owned by Trevor Baptiste, it's like you're walking into a buzzsaw.
I think Baptiste won the first 6.
He did.
For the game, it's 15-10, so it's been about even since then. 1 minute left to go in this third quarter.
This is a big possession for Whipsnakes heading into the 4th.
Ledman loses his footing. He's able to get back up, gets it over to Kahn. Got Jackson Morrill at X, working on Comizio.
Good. Look away.
Morrill comes upfield. Ledman for 2. Troutner makes the save. Now he gets the outlet pass. Beautiful outlet pass. Razanka now behind the cage. Here's Teed on the far wing.
The Atlas are finally starting to look tired. Quint, I don't know if you've seen him from the sideline, but a little slower in those sub-game.
Yeah, you see it?
Aiken.
Guy's jogging
Aiken
off.
loses his footing, gets it back. Jacoby, he's gonna have to let it rip, and does. Krebs makes the save at the buzzer.
Got some gas left. Credit Coach Staggs. Thought he kept his composure and kept the team afloat when they were getting absolutely blasted in the early stages. This game was 10-1 at one point.
2-point goals from Chan and Chuck and Kobe Smith. It is a 4-point game. Atlas on top as we head to the 4th.
By because you're kind of rip-roaring ready to go.
And we're getting our first look at what might be a disadvantage for having the 2 games in 2 days, because this Atlas team built a big lead early. The Whipsnakes have fought back, and it's a 4-point game as we head to the 4th. And are we going to see situations like this with unforced errors and turnovers with a tired Atlas team? Shannon Shuck, Jackson Morrill with a head of steam out of the box inside to Williams, who scores.
This is quick offense, ball movement, and selfless approach.
The pendulum has swung Body language, energy, everything.
Jackson Morrill, they traded for him at the end of last year's regular season, formerly of the Chrome Outlaws. He was their quarterback behind the cage. Coming out of the substitution box, you've got to rotate. The advantage was gained. Beautiful vision there, looking past the first slide and recognizing Williams is sat in that dead spot behind the play in the rotation.
As close as we have been since the 7:51 mark of the first quarter. Razanka.
See trailer.
Dixon over to Teat. Being checked by Zappatello. On the far wing, the shot goes high, stays with the Atlas, but just 5 to shoot.
And again, this is where they're just kind of running out of steam. I mean, Teat's got the ball. You've got to have a sense of urgency. He's just kind of waiting for stuff to happen. At one point, there was a 5-on-5 opportunity there that Teat could have gone to the cage and try to make something happen.
And with every goal by the Whipsnakes to close this gap, there's more and more belief. It was 10-1 at one point in time in this game. And Stags just brought the team together on a timeout and said, we're all right, just keep fighting. Keep scratching and clawing your way back into it, and that's exactly what they've done to make it a 3-point game here in the early moments of this fourth quarter.
That's the look Rambo wanted.
Yeah.
That's vintage Matt Rambo when you just soak the check and you come up goal line extended with the left hand. He normally buries that one.
Here's Kahn, looking to come upfield. He'll take a shot.
Maryland Whipsnakes want the reset.
Yeah,
off a Troutner deflection off the upper lip of his plastic. And Stags has thrown the red flag.
Yeah, the officials looked at each other, Q.
Whipsnakes have challenged that the last shot should have been a reset.
I think the official on the near side here, that's Peter Buchanan. I don't think he saw it, so he looked at the official closer to you, where you are on that side, for clarification, and we didn't get it. We'll get it in the replay.
in real time, it looked like it deflected off his stick.
Yeah,
no-brainer.
Clearly,
yeah,
they're
no-brainer.
They're gonna reset that shot clock to 32.
And that's huge because you have 9 seconds left. You see the hand gesture for a restart.
Good. Pick coming.
Here's Rambo.
You're good. Turn him.
Doesn't have an angle, turns back to his right. Loses it. And it's picked up by Adler.
Troutner looks like he's a little banged up after that collision. You have Liam Entenmann on the bench. You hope Troutner can finish this game, but he looks like he's hurting.
It's a play on.
Right.
Rambo's clearly in the
right.
crease.
It was a play on because the advantage.
But at what point does it become a dangerous play by Rambo?
See the game flow there. Rambo collides with Troutner.
It trucks the goalie.
And the goal. Had to reset the goal on its moorings. Jacoby thought about ripping with his left.
Pick left.
Malloy shoots, hits the pipe. Big GB here, won by Jacoby. And look at Krebs coming out to rob it. Heads up play by the Whipsnakes goalie.
We talked about those plays, right? Last night, Quint, goalies hedging, gambling, paid off.
He read it, and he was decisive.
Quick ball movement by the Whipsnakes. Malone has his defender hung up.
Look away! Look away! Look away!
Gets the Kessenich. He hits the pipe on a two-point shot.
Guy. Don't let him shoot the ball.
I mean, he didn't even wind up on that.
That release is so
didn't even
fast.
wind up.
That release is so
And
fast.
he was heads up to run back and not so that Manley wasn't off. I mean, Zappatello wasn't off sides.
He's another coach on the field. He's got the matchup.
Troutner getting all kinds of beat up right now. 14th save of the game.
He's going to have to be the guy here.
Oh, that's a... Williams picked up the ball in the field of play and then ran out of bounds. If he just let that go.
Yeah, tough break. Didn't know exactly where he was, did he? Took a one step out beyond the end line. Now we're inside of 7 minutes. This is that magical number you talked about, RB. That immediate timeout.
Left foot.
New York has gotten here with this 3-point advantage. They can make it 4 here before the timeout. Jacoby probing.
Pick left.
Malloy.
Left foot.
He's got team near side here. Instead, he opts to go back to Dylan Malloy. He shoots. Krebs makes the save. Quick outlet to Bernhardt.
They got numbers here. Watch Jacoboyce.
Here he is. Loses the ball, and it's picked up by Troutner. Jacoboyce was getting ready to crank it.
And that's where you miss Michael Earhart.
And Miles Jones will just settle it down here a little bit and watch some clock wind down. Teat still has 30 seconds to shoot, so New York's in no hurry. And as I say that, a 2-point shot. Muller comes out of there with it to Puglisi.
Krebs has made some high-end saves in this game. I mean, he came in from the bench in relief for Kyle Bernlor.
Puglisi shoots and scores.
You could see this coming from the booth off the save. Puglisi, he's got some juice left in his legs. He senses a tired Miles Jones. The defense expands, and he goes to the rack. Whipsnakes can smell the opportunity. They've been chipping away. Can they get all the way back?
There you go. Staggs is never without his hat, and he's got to be, even if he doesn't show it, he's smiling ear to ear inside with the performance of his team because they were getting blown out. And now not only have they fought back and played hard the entire day, but they're within a distance of being able to win this game.
One shot away from tying it up, and they've had 3 2-pointers in this game. 2 by Kessenich, 1 by Ledman.
Good job by Carpenter there, knowing the rules. You're allowed to go back over the midfield line once after a face-off win.
Teat looking to take this thing over in the fourth quarter, gives it up instead of taking a shot himself, and it was the right choice. Docks. 98 mile an hour on the Jugs gun.
He's ready for a breakout year. Doc Aiken looks fresh. His shot is popping.
And this is all about the IQ of Trevor Baptiste. He stays on the field understanding that he's got LaSalle trapped. And when he does that, then he elects to come out and set this pick for Jeff Teat. LaSalle was going to stay glued to Baptiste. Trevor sets this pick, Baptiste, and then the slide occurs. But Baptiste puts La Sala in a compromising situation, an uncomfortable situation, allowing Jeff Teat to feast on that slide.
Two things about Dox. One is his two-handedness. He had a lefty shot on the run over 90 miles an hour. That righty set shot over 90. And his athleticism, Quint, we talked about it yesterday. He's moving different. So in the fourth quarter, when your team is gassed, the supreme athlete makes the play.
And go back to assignment Virginia. What was he known for? Big moment goals. There was no moment too big for Dox. A lot of game winners in overtime, a lot of game-tying goals. We've seen that this weekend. He'll score the first goal of the game, which is always big, and he's been able to finish some things off.
Ball on the ground picked up by the Atlas. 5 to shoot, though. Jones is going to have to let it fly. Instead, the underhand pass, and Costabile couldn't handle it. Costabile has been hurt. He's
left ankle wrapped. He just cannot run anymore. This team's running with legs made of seaweed right now.
Maryland can get closer here. That last goal by New York, bringing the advantage back to 3.
Pick coming left. Pick left.
Malone
Pick left.
wants to use it. Shannon Chuck pick.
Check.
Way up top, he finds Zed. Zed down the alley, doesn't have a shot.
Hug. Good hug. Go twos. Look away. Look away.
10 to shoot. Malone looking for an opening. Rolls back to his right, shot is wide with 2 seconds. They'll just dump this one in the corner. And that's what Zed does on the far side.
I would have liked to see Malone attack a little bit earlier. You played the hung game for a bit. Once that got to about 10 seconds, just go.
And Aiken clears it for the Atlas.
Pulse it X. Right. Roman, front your guy. Alone, Gunner.
Jones down the alley. Spins away from one defender. Tries to get under the other and scores!
He dodged himself into trouble, and then he dodged himself out of trouble.
He's played a heck of a game. I thought yesterday he was a little off, but we're seeing some of the old Miles Jones, the passes, and then the body, the ability to use the strength and go airborne.
In these scenarios, you can see it looks like he kept his feet out of the crease. Good slow-mo there. But in those kill the clock scenarios, it's nice to have a guy that you can just be like, hey, whatever happens, just go to the rack.
Yes.
Just go to the rack without like about 10, 12 seconds, just go to the rack. Whatever happens, fine. And Atlas have really got 2 of them out of the field. Jones, and I would put Dylan Malloy in that category as well. Like, it's either going to be a goal or a train wreck.
Yes, but that was a goal. And I will also say this. When we saw that last highlight, there was a subtle, almost like fake flip that I think froze the defense that allowed him to continue to have room and space and no slide.
And now as the clock winds toward 2 minutes left to go and the advantage 4 goals.
I would just leave Carpenter out there. Don't take him out.
If this game had a 5th quarter, you'd be worried sick if you were the Atlas. But they found ways in the 4th quarter with big goals by Dox and Miles.
Dox fires this one on the run with just 3 seconds left to go. Possession now.
Defend the 2. Defend the 2 if you're the New York Atlas.
Ajax brings it up. Timeout called by Stags and the Whipsnakes. Let's see if we can listen in to Staggs and what he wants to draw up.
Except I weren't going to dodge right, and I want you popping out.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. So Cheney's here, okay, Ramo's here. We had Jackson at the backside, Keegan, dodging, TJ was here, right? Yep. Okay, and then we had Zed back here. Okay, Keegan's going here. First look is here coming out. Okay, nothing is there. We're gonna try to pass that forward, okay, and then throw it back. Chaney is gonna come off that. Okay, you guys good with that? We're going right away. Okay.
Chaney's there. If we go, is there any chance we kind of set a pick here, pop, and throw it back to him?
I just won't be able to get there, and just timing-wise, it's a little bit tough. But yeah,
come on,
yeah.
We'll do that next time.
That's new offensive coordinator Drew Snyder, formerly of the Whipsnakes. He finished his career with the Water Dogs.
Seattle, Washington, former Maryland Terp, who was a All-American midfielder in the early 2010s and then had a fantastic pro career with the Denver Outlaws as well.
And let's see it now come to fruition. They got Chaney here on the near side, and he loses it. Carpenter's had a fantastic game.
Yeah, they got the look that they wanted in terms of drawing it up, but Carpenter just blew up that play.
That caused turnover to go along with 6 GBs for Carpenter today.
He's had a heck of a weekend, huh?
Yeah. Great instincts.
They were raving about his play during training camp, and he has stepped up and looked every bit of the part.
Another rookie who was drafted after the 3rd round. The depth of this draft with all the rookies who've made plays this weekend, it's incredible that you're seeing like a change of guard and the influx of talent. I mean, do you recall a weekend in the early stages of a PLL season where this many rookies made plays?
I mean, Ament, when he came in the league, he kind of set it on fire. Teat.
But there's a handful of
No,
them.
I know. I'm
just
trying to go through my brain here on recall of Game 4.
He's all in.
Jeff Teat for the 2 games this weekend, 7 goals and 11 assists. Wow. He's just been a beast.
Yikes. Wow.
Whips call a timeout. Baptiste has been dominant as well. Today, a lot of tougher tasks for him today, taking on Petey LaSalle, yet he was still able to win. He's won 74% of his draws this weekend, and that's been huge for the Atlas.
And Teat did it without Connor Schellenberger, who had 8 points yesterday, a rookie record in the PLL. He's dealing with a lower body injury, but I think Teat just was so strong with his decision-making, and it's the ability to just allow the game to almost be played in slow motion. And then that's what he does, and Xander Dixon does that as well. Like, you never feel like these guys are rattled. They're never making the play. Like, you made the point about like Miles Jones and Dylan Malloy, who are excellent players, but you feel like sometimes you're anxious when things are happening, right? Like, you never feel that way.
Teat is always under control. It seems as though he's playing the game in slow motion at times. A casualness, I will say, in a complimentary manner.
Yeah. 18 points to start off a season. I mean, that is a season for some guys. To put in perspective, he would have been the leading point scorer for the Outlaws last year. Yes.
On the year.
Saw Coach Pressler there talking to Baptiste. It's an Atlas team that won 2-9 last year. They finished in 7th place, so they did make the playoffs, losing in the first round.
He would have tied Wisniewski.
Yeah,
tied. He would have tied him.
There you go. In 2 games.
Janenchuk will shoot a 2-pointer. He's had a heck of a game with a couple of 2-pointers to really keep the Whips in this thing when they were in danger of getting blown out early.
Atlas are going to go 2-0 in the weekend, 2 wins in the division, and they +7 yesterday over Boston and +4 today over Whipsnakes.
Yeah,
statement weekend, homecoming weekend.
And we are off and running in the 2024 PLL season. For Boyle, Carc, and Q, I'm Chris Cotter. Thanks for watching the PLL on ESPN. Good night from Albany.